later. I'm just going to hit record now. You should get an alert on that. But yes, really, it's just to discuss how your sessions have been, how your week is going, what you think of Data Digital Week so far. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What could improve? What was really good? What stood out for you? Things like that. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts. I have quite a few. The one for me was DNV. There was a DNV unlocking data potential. That one was really, really interesting. If anyone had attended, did anyone attend DMV at all? Maybe not.
No, unfortunately not.
No.
But if you want a positive or an optimistic mind, I can start.
Yeah, please go ahead. It's open forum. I'll have my
Yeah.
coffee.
It's much more frustration in the sense that though I've put on my agenda this week, I've noted a few sessions and so on, and of course reality is that since you are not sitting in a space where you are kind of still connected with your daily work, you have to be there. Here, you know, you always have these dilemmas of, okay, I have this session, but at the same time I have these 20 emails to answer, or you know, suddenly someone calls me, and so of course this is a nice to have, and when you are not physically present, that's where you have to make the hard choices. But obviously the choices were hard because the week is interesting. If it were not, I wouldn't have to make these hard choices. But so I think the format, the fact that you, I really like that you give responsibility to people. It's up to them to get themselves organized. I think it's easier for the organizers also, so that you don't need to worry about everything, about platforms, whatever. It's up to us to test things and do the way we are comfortable with or the way we want. It's not always perfect. It's funny, we did some rehearsal, and of course the day my session was running was yesterday. It didn't work, so
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it worked, but it took me like this 2-3 minutes of like, oh sorry, you can't see my screen. No, let me check again, and you know the classic things.
Logistics.
Yeah, logistics. But at the same time, I think it's interesting because you bring us audiences. We don't know exactly who they are, and this is maybe on my side a few things to improve. We could get the data finally of who attended. So, but that's the things that are interesting because yeah, you don't know who will attend, so you hope there will be some people. But I was surprised it was not at all the usual suspect, not my network at all.
Yes.
And so maybe I should have started to say who I am and where I'm from and what I'm doing. Sorry.
Please go ahead. It's early. You haven't had your coffee yet.
Yeah. So
Good morning, Frederick, by the way. We acknowledge you coming on.
So I'm Philippe. I'm working for the International Committee of the Red Cross, the SOON Data Digital Transformation and Data Partnership Manager.
Oh, okay.
And I'm the co-creator of a website called Digital Dilemmas, which was first a physical experience at the international conference 2019, and we transformed this into a website. The idea is to create a sense of understanding for people who don't know what is a humanitarian crisis, and therefore the dilemmas people have to make when using new technologies, such as biometrics, social media, and so on, in a crisis. So it's both man-made or natural disaster. So voilà. And I wanted just to present that website. So it's not an ICRC tool; it's really a movement one. And I was surprised the exchange, the number of people who attended, and
how many? How many did you have?
37.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they were bots or not, but there were a few interactions, and wanted them to vote on a few things, and we went very simple. So people who wrote in the chat. I didn't go for this WooClap or whatever. So it was more simple. But eventually, I think it was interesting. What I really like with this week is indeed it's a menu. It's up to you to decide. And I've attended few sessions as a basic listener, and yeah, that's again interesting to see how people think their sessions, what they bring in terms of substance, and it's much more frustrations rather than anything else that I have to share with you. The fact that I couldn't attend all the sessions I wanted, and the other one is how we can take advantage of the people who attended to be relays, ambassadors, and so on. And I don't know how you as a Solferino Academy will take advantage of these people who attended to become also, you know, the people who will pass the right messages at one point within the movement around either data protection or transformation of some of our tools. That this is a strong basis, that they have maybe a role to play within their organization. And I think this is something where, yeah. Voilà.
I think, yeah, it's great. Yeah, what we're doing is just on the side is we're recording all of the sessions. For me, I head up the Futures and Foresight group at the Solferino Academy. So research is everything for me, and there's research to be found everywhere. So you'd be surprised how much information I've been able to gather either by facilitating a session or just speaking with, like in a Cafe George sort of style, the insights you can grab from people and just having conversations. So we take all of this and we generate insights out of them for, say trends and risks reports or foresight thinking or future scenarios, anything that helps drive the national societies in the organization to sort of help them think a little farther ahead. Because everyone's, like you said, everyone's so busy answering the phone call or doing email or trying to juggle their day. So we do take a lot of this and we turn it into helpful insights and information for for the network. What was your favorite? Did you have a favorite session? Did you have one that you really liked and one that you had maybe your hopes up, and then you're like, it didn't quite turn out the way that I wanted? And by the way, that's for you, Philippe. That's Frederick, Celine. Anyone can answer that. Please come off
Leave
mute.
it to others. I spoke enough.
Yeah, Frederick. Hi. Good morning. Have your coffee. I saw.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to meet you this way. So far, I have only had my own session. I haven't been able to attend any other sessions yet. So I'm sorry, I can't I can't answer that. But there are two sessions that one this afternoon and one tomorrow afternoon that I'm really interested in. And both of them are in the area that I work with. It's about online learning and especially first aid. So this afternoon, the British Red Cross will have a session about how they have gone online with their first aid training, and tomorrow I think it's the IFRC that will have a session about 10 things you need to know about going online with education or teaching, learning. So those two sessions I'm looking forward to attend.
That sounds.
And by the way, I'm Frederick. I work at the Swedish Red Cross at the Learning and Development Unit at the Swedish Red Cross.
Oh, welcome, Frederick. Those sound fascinating, especially education, especially now. There's such a pivot in what education and online education is going to be. I have two teenage boys who are learning on Zoom, and they've spent part of their high school, in a classroom like I did. And now it's gone completely virtually. And so you have sort of this period of learning where people will adapt to e-learning. but also post-secondary education. I'm fascinated about, you have major institutions, hundreds of years old, that are failing instantly. And they're failing for a few reasons. There's many, of course, but one is their business model of funding has dried up. So they get donations in order to run, and they get grants, but it's also enrollment. And as students go into these universities post-secondary and spend, their life savings, sometimes going into debt for nearly the rest of their life and coming out with nothing, they're rethinking, where do I want to spend all of this money? And with enrollment and admissions drying up, these universities, these post-secondary institutions are going away. So what fills that void? Do we have a gap of learning where only perhaps the incredibly wealthy are able to afford learning, and how about the rest of the world? So this is an interesting shift that's happening.
It is.
It affects me personally because I have boys and I want them to go and be what they want to be, but they might not be able to afford it, and I might not be able to afford it, which is shocking. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no. It's interesting, and at the same time, knowledge is available to an extent that we've never seen before, so there are quite a lot of preconceptions about how we distribute data, information, knowledge. Quite a lot of preconceptions, and that we have to take another look at, and that's a really interesting phase or period in time that we are experiencing right now, and when it comes to teaching first aid, we really have to have a really close look on how do we distribute knowledge and how do we teach, and we for more than hundreds of years we have had this thought that it has to be done in an on-site training
Environment.
environment, and that might not be true. There are different ways, or and on-site training is a very good way of doing it, but it's not the only way. There are other ways, and it's a really interesting period in time to be a part of.
I hope that in these sessions, I think I'm going to attend them as well. I hope that they touch on the power of VR in training, in immerse, I guess we'll call it immersive training, but both of my, just as a bridge, both of my sons, they're techies. So we have a few headsets of Oculus in our home. If you ever tried an Oculus VR set, I get nauseous actually. And they have this, my sons have this pilot simulator, which operates a jet. And there's really no instructions to this. You have to go online and you have to learn how to turn the jet on and turn on the vacuums and the engines and all of these things. So it's not a game, it's a simulator. And you have to, once you figure this out, you have to get this thing up and on the ground. But the training around this is so incredibly real. I feel, although it's probably not true, that I could get into a jet and say, like, I know how to fly this. Just, step aside. But this is the immersive training that's going to be happening, and how you can train en masse in locations around the world, yet all be in the same room together. So this for me, this Zoom environment of sharing and education, this feels very one-dimensional for me. It will become 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional very, very soon, where we'll be able to actually interact with each other as opposed to this and this and this window here. Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'll be able to hand you something and
Yeah.
you'll be able to accept that thing
Yeah.
and, you know, put it in your pocket.
Yeah. There are so many ways that the technology can help us, and we're talking about VR, and we're talking about other techniques or ways of doing it. But there's also another aspect, and it's the possibility to go into really simple ways of doing things. It does not have to be a very advanced setting in order to distribute knowledge online. And for instance, when we decided about a year ago when Corona hit us, first we had to, we made the decision to cancel all our on-site training for obvious reasons. And then we went online instead. We said that if we can't meet our participants on site, let's go online. And the CPR part of the training was one of our biggest challenges. And sorry, I get
You interrupted.
And we didn't want to spend all that money on fancy mannequins. We didn't have that money, and we wanted to go simple instead. So what we actually did, we use a do-it-yourself mannequin. So using a towel, a t-shirt, 2 towels, and a plastic bottle, the participants create their own. They build their own mannequin at home, and that's just another way of using the format, the digital room, and do it very, very simple, and it works.
Yeah,
So,
yes, yes.
so that's another aspect of all the possibilities and opportunities that we are able to embrace.
It's true. There's going to be technology that will make what we're doing, you know, productivity, I guess we'll call it, much better. But we're going to revert back to, you know, I won't say ancient ways, but, you know, very crude and rudimentary ways, and crude, not in a bad sense at all, on how to, you know, how to learn, how to create. There'll be a pendulum swing because there'll be a push this way and then a counter push that will happen the other way. Anybody else? Celine, hello, nice to see you. Kyore, nice to see you. Anyone have a session favorite that they attended, or maybe just share their session with us and how they felt about it?
Hello, everyone. I can speak little English. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I am here just to listen. I'm working in Turkish Red Crescent Society. We expanded our application of convalescent plasma or recruitment.
Wow.
My director had made the speech. The first conversation was in our team. It's nice to have this experience. Nice to meet you. I did not have the opportunity to access other applications to my busy schedule. And thanks. And I will have to leave for another meeting soon. It will be enjoyable to come together again. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Well, thank you for coming. Even to listen. It's there's been I think I was mentioning earlier, my one of my favorite sessions was with a DMV. I'm not sure if anyone saw that one. I think it was yesterday, And DMV is essentially, it was very timely given the evergreen shipping situation in the Suez Canal. So DMV is a logistics company that handles freight, specifically with ocean freighters and ocean transport. And they talk about how they use data to direct, ships to understand stress fractures in the ships, and just, help with logistical chain. And it was fascinating to hear the information that they're able to draw from a large shipping vessel that is, traveling across the ocean, and how they're able to help, understand what's on board, what's at risk, what could happen along the way. And I just found it fascinating, especially with like I said, the evergreen ship that was stuck for, I think it was 2 weeks. I'm not sure how long it was in the canal, and I believe they calculated the impact of that as something like $26 billion. I'm making the number up. I don't remember what the number is, but it was billions of dollars in lost opportunity because this boat was blocking the canal, and a very small construction truck was just slowly digging out this massive tanker. It was just the photo of it and the image of it together was, here's this ship that is causing billions of dollars every day in lost revenue, and they've sent a little scoop truck just to sit there and pick at the shoreline to free it out. It's like, you would think that maybe we would have a better solution for this. To Frederick's point, let's go back to simple things that we have to do just to get through the day-to-day. So we've got all this data and technology that should have never happened. If you think about it, never would a ship should have been stuck. And if it had the potential to be stuck, we would have data and information that would say, this could possibly happen. Yet with all of that, the ship gets stuck on some wind, and our only solution is a few shovels and a machine that's used to, dig roads, and off you go. And we'll just have to sit here and wait until it's done. So I went off on a little bit of an adventure there with my speech, but this is the things that we see in terms of this gap in how we solve problems, very simple ones, and all the data in the world didn't save us from $26 billion. There was a website that someone posted. It was quite funny. It was called "Is the Ship Still Stuck?" And it was an API that was connected to the GPS on the ship that then put it into, I think it was Google Maps or one of the mapping technologies. So it was a simple site, and you clicked on it, and when you arrived, if the ship was stuck, it says, yes, the ship has been stuck for 16 days or whatever it may be. And you see, the Suez Canal, and you see the ship blocking it, and it says, and then there was a rolling total. This delay has cost, the global economy $26 million. And if you go back there now, the website's still available. And when you click on it, is the ship still stuck? It says no, and it shows the GPS coordinates of the Evergreen somewhere in the ocean. I don't know which ocean it's, wherever it's traveling to, Mediterranean or Indian Ocean, I'm not sure. So look at all this data that we have, and we just use it to inform ourselves. We actually sometimes don't use it to make decisions. Oh, we lost Coyote here. So I found that session incredibly useful. It looks like, Frederick, are you looking it up right now? And the ship is not stuck. It's quite funny. It's very, very interesting. Hi, Coyote. We lost you. Welcome, welcome back. The other one that I thought was interesting, and if anyone is open to this, perhaps I can share it. Would anyone be okay if I shared a really neat piece of technology for education here? It's a video, so it's very easy. It's beautifully shot. And it was something that I'd love your reaction on it, because it is for the purposes of education and training. It is with a major technology satellite company, not McDonnell Douglas. It's one of the large technology companies and space exploration companies, and they created a bus that trains and educates children on colonization of Mars. So if everyone has sound, I would love to play it for a minute. Does anyone mind if I do that? I'd love your reaction to it, because I think it's a really neat share. Okay, I'll do this now. 1 second. I just need to find my, here it is. Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay, so now you should see, does everyone see a bus?
Yep.
Perfect. So I'll just click on this. This is a very interesting to watch. It's about 2 minutes, very inspiring. Just going to make sure. Okay, here we go. I'll stop sharing that for a moment. I was Lockheed Martin. That's what it was. Their name escaped me, which of course is a, could everyone hear that okay?
No, there is no audio, George.
Oh no.
Sorry, I tried to root.
Oh, I was playing it. Oh no, there was no audio. That's so strange, because I could hear the audio on my side. Oh, my apologies. So that's really, it's really too bad. I'm glad that there were subtitles on there, but there's music and reactions from the kids. So I don't know why that wouldn't have played. I'm going to try another one here. Maybe let's see if yeah, thanks Philippe. So maybe I'll just comment on that before showing another one. But so
you don't want to listen to my contradictory mind?
No, I do. I just I just wanted to explain a little bit more of what happened in the video. I didn't realize there was no sound.
Well, we could get it, and I'm sure the kids are happy. And you know, I used to work in communication, so the beautiful kids are, and Lockheed Martin is one big company. Which most probably has a lot of money to make things nice. Now, my main question, which relates to maybe the discussion we had earlier about education and distance learning and stuff like that. I saw and VR or integrated realities and things like that, augmented reality. Sorry. I see a lot of research and work and studies done around that, but I see only positive things. And I'm wondering if there is someone who is going to come up, because that's my impression, that while a lot of people think it creates a sense of, you get closer to the issue, or there is a sense of empathy and so on. I'm wondering if it does also the opposite and puts things at distance because they're not real. So maybe I'm too old for getting it and jumping into the thing, but that's a question that I'm asking, and during quite many forums and discussion we had within the movement, I always try to come up with the fact that we work with human beings. And definitely trainings could be done for our colleagues, staff, and so on, online for first aid training. Maybe if they can't travel, they can still learn, and this is perfect. And what Frederick mentioned is very interesting. But to which extent we will create a bigger gap between human beings, because this is the simplest solution. And within the ICRC, we face now a case where our colleagues are happier behind the screen, even if they're on the bush, rather than going and talking to people. So they read the interesting reports. They are based in South Sudan. They write beautiful reports, but they don't go out anymore. So just provoking a little bit the discussion. Since you wanted this to be a discussion.
Yeah. Yes, I think you're right. There's going to be, you hear a lot of newsworthy buzz saying, we'll never go back to what it was before, whatever that may be. There's this ideal that once we are all vaccinated and life returns to normal, that we will somehow reverse back in time to December 2019. Because I think it was around January, February 2020 is when things really started to get terrible around the world. Arguably before that, but for the most part, it's like, let's say June 2019. So I think you're absolutely right. We're not going back to June 2019. We are going to have, now, will it be completely evolved forward? I don't think so. There's going to be a middle ground. And you can sort of feel and see that already. There'll be this sort of hybrid of doing this. And a lot of those underpinnings of how we work are simply accelerated. So this is my opinion, of course. I could be wrong, and I welcome the challenge. But I feel that this was the direction we were headed anyways. Perhaps a pandemic or an international crisis has propelled that forward very quickly, 5-6 years. And you hear about organizations and their digital transformation efforts saying, we had a 10-year plan and we pressed it into a pill form and we did it in 9 months. Because if 9 months is I just made that up, 5 months, 1 year, whatever it may be, but a massive stressful compression because we were forced to change. And if we weren't able to change, some of us would cease to exist, not physically, but organizations and infrastructure would collapse. So I think you're right. Working in the field, there will be an enhanced hybrid component of this. And I think, VR and AI and these combinations will allow us to sort of be, I think the word is like a digital nomad a little bit, where we'll be able to connect as we need to connect and disconnect as we need to disconnect. It will be our physical, I guess, ability and allowance to see how far we as individuals want to connect or disconnect. And with everything you see, with every reaction, you see a reaction. So you'll see a pendulum swing going the other way, where people will seek to have more in-person engagement because we already Zoom fatigue. Here we go. Like that's a great example of it. But I welcome the challenge if you think differently. I think we'll be a hybrid. I really do.
I'm just you know, a little bit obsessed by these kind of things, trying to push also our own thinking. And yeah, the Red Cross Red Crescent movement is about human beings and what does it mean in the future. And I was part of the organizers of the conference, and we brought this notion in trust in humanitarian action and trust in a virtual world. And for me, this is also a new game changer. Whereas I'm speaking on behalf of the ICRC, or my experience is related to that, but I can imagine also in a national society, the strength and the strength of the movement is to be close to people, and they see us, they feel us, they understand, or we understand them. So with the virtualization of social interaction, how can we maintain that proximity, that people understand that we are there for helping them without monetary interest or whatever political interest, but just there. So how do you translate this where they see me physically going there or going in the prison or giving blood or whatever, as opposed to something where it's, well, I realize I forgot to share you don't even know, see how I look like. Oops.
Oh, there you are.
So no, voila, I'm just putting this as part of a reflection, and yeah, I hope we can push that reflection within the movement also. Yeah, how to bring the human beings within the technologies.
I think you're absolutely right, and there's going to be a very interesting factor to consider that you know, I think the ICRC is looking into, but maybe others don't, and that is data risk. It's risk of the information that's being passed between us as individuals, like you said, whether you're visiting a prison or you know, giving blood or in the field.
I will go even one step further. It's not so much the risk, it's the consequences of the risk, and a risk could be similar if I'm here in Geneva or I'm in South Sudan, but the consequences of geolocalization for me here in Geneva, I'm like, I gave up on that. I know I'm kind of tracked, I don't know by whom, but that's okay, because I'm in a country where there is no issue at stake. But if you are in a country where there is a political tension or whatever, the fact that your phone says where you were sitting, I just saw today in the news that the police in one part of Switzerland is allowed now to have access to your phone if you have committed a crime. So, okay, this is the classic things. They want to look at the numbers, who you contacted, basic things. But imagine that in another situation where, you went in this territory, this means you are friends of terrorists or whatever. So, voilà.
No, it's just Frederick was just leaving.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
So yeah, but that's fascinating, and I think yeah. Where to start, where to go, how to raise these things towards first governments or tech giants who are there for other reasons than ours, who want to push for their own agenda. So this is
Yes, it was. I think it was yesterday. So I'm born and raised Canadian. I'm Canada, but I live in Rome. I'm here in Italy.
Yep.
And so I have my news sources locally, and I like to keep in touch with what happens, you know, in Canada, because of course we are north of a very interesting country. The way Canadians describe it is, we're living in the apartment above you know, the crazy neighbors. we hear all the things going on on the main floor, which is very funny. That's the joke, but. Yesterday, President Biden had officially said that the SolarWinds breach was, created by, the Russian Federation, and they started to talk a little bit more about that type of data that is out there that's very risky. So to your point, you could be in a location where there could be a disaster or catastrophe like Facebook, marked safe. George has been marked safe because there was an attack downtown, someone drove a van into a crowd or something terrible or horrific. But then there's also, getting that data into the wrong hands and saying, here's a group or an interest group that is in this certain area, and we may want to attack that group, or we may want to deliver harm to that group. Very dangerous in the wrong hands, where you can suddenly you can do some pretty scary things.
And it's also what I don't know. You said you have teenage boys, so I think we must have the same age. Or I remember how naive I was when I discovered Facebook and stuff I've put in the beginning, and these things are still there. So I remove few of them, but yeah, this is the kind of things where we do things today where we don't care, because in our current situation, that's okay. But what will happen in 5 years' time if this data is still available, and what it means? So
well, and social currency, things like that, right? I think you're right. Yeah.
I really like. I forgot one person has as a banner on her LinkedIn profile a screenshot of someone from Immigration Services checked your profile.
Wow.
That's, for me, says it all.
Wow. Wow.
So that sounds like, yeah. This is the kind of funny things that yeah. So I will have to leave. Not making too much publicity. Yeah, I worked a lot with that with the federation and Heather Lezen, for example. I'm sure you know her.
Yes, she's on my team.
So this is the website we created for the movement, which is raising awareness. Sensitizing, because raising awareness doesn't mean much, but there is also material there in case.
Digital dilemmas.
It's a small choose your own adventure style of trying to put people in the shoes of a person affected by a crisis, and the dilemmas or the choices they have to make, which relates to digital. Often it doesn't say much, but at the end you understand that all the choices you made could have consequences on your life.
Wow. Thank you. This is I'm gonna I know you have to leave, which is great, because this gives me something to do for 10 minutes until the coffee chat is
just
closed.
10 minutes.
And so I'm gonna interact with this. Thank you, Philippe. This is wonderful. Cheers.
And
enjoy the rest of your week.
Same. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Ciao. Stop recording.